Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Nine of Cups and Justice. This feels like something going in your way, in the way that you wanted it to. This will feel too like a deep satisfaction type of feeling with things going in this direction, like a deep resonance. This isn't just like, yay, it went in my way, and then like a moment later you don't care. Having the Nine of Cups be here, this is like something that you really would have wanted to go in this direction. And you can feel too like this brings things back into a state of balance. And there can also have been a part of you that was really craving for something to be brought back into the state that it's meant to be in, or you wanted things to be harmonious, something along the lines of that. We're going to get further and see the context for this. But yeah, there you could feel this part within you where it's like it matters that things are functioning properly, or that this was out of whack and it's being brought back into balance, like that. I get in a general sense, like this may be something that you have to offer in general. You know how everybody sort of has their unique thing that they bring to the table? I feel like your thing is seeing what's not sort of in balance or what's not functioning properly, and being able to usher in an energy that is going to put things back where it's supposed to be. Because I'm seeing even something that you're giving, like this is feeling, an example of this energy is feeling like a counselor or something like that, where because of this deep desire within you for things to be fair or to be functioning properly, there's like this innate gift that you have. It's like a very Venus energy here. There's an innate gift that you have to recognize what may not be in balance and to come through and know how to counter that energy to get things functioning back the way that they're supposed to, so everything is sort of propelled by an essence of harmony. And this Page of Cups I'm actually seeing it feels like the physical manifestation of how you do this. So Nine of Cups and the Justice it feels like this important resonant frequency that you feel within your heart space that is just like when everything is in working order the way that it's meant to be, like this is how I come through, this is how I show up. Page of Pentacles here is feeling like then how you're able to extend that or apply that in the situations where you are. How that comes to fruition, how you take the steps to bring that with you, to offer that. It's like the practical side of, because you can have this idea, right? Like Nine of Cups is a sort of lofty energy, and it can be a bit idealistic, where it's like, yeah, I want things to be harmonious, or I want everybody to be getting along, or I want like both sides to be fair, you know. Page of Pentacles is like the practical side of how do you actually apply that and how do you actually make that happen. So it's like how do you take the idea and materialize that in a way where the steps that you're taking are going to be reflective of this vision that you have within your heart. Empress and King of Wands feels then like the mission that you sort of go on with that in mind, and then the moves that you make and what blooms from that, based all off of this like sentiment that you feel deep within you. Can feel too like a knowledge of law or order of things as well. like this fits here and that fits over there and this balances that part out, like that type of vision, to be able to see those things. Some of you, this could have been something that you did want, and you can be shifting into, can be somewhere else that you're shifting into now. This can be something where it's like, that was my main focus before, and now I feel my focus going in a different direction, or looking at something else. What's this about? 6 of Swords and 5 of Swords. Can feel like you have to be careful with where you step. I'm seeing you move forward, but then I'm seeing there be 5 of Swords, which can be something that doesn't allow you to fully move in the direction that you're intending to. It can feel kind of like a barrier is the 5 of Swords, but 5 of Swords is connected with a mentality. So in order for you to move forward, you would need to clear the way with this. Yeah, you can feel like something is getting in the way. What's the deal? 5 of Swords and Page of Pentacles can be this feeling within you where it's like, I want to help, or I want to do this, but 5 of Swords can be like another part of you that's not on the same page. Let me like sort of tune into an example of this energy. All right. You have a relationship with somebody, and you know within your heart that you function best when things are balanced between the two of you. You know, when you're being fair, when this other person is being honest, when there's like teamwork that's happening, because we have justice here, so this is connected with like how we collaborate and work with other people, especially our social values. So standing aligned with the social values that you have. I'm seeing something where like something has occurred now, and there's a bit of a jaded energy that I'm looking at here, where if you look at what's going on in like the prime perspective of this energy, you see somebody that knows deep within their heart the right way for them to go. I know when things are in alignment, I have that vision in my heart, and I take steps that are in alignment with that because I know how important this is. So it feels like a very pure manifestation or like reflection of this energy within you of like, this is the right thing and this is the not so right thing, or like this really agrees with me to move in this direction, or that would not be the right way for me to go. 5 of Swords are like the sort of the framework that gives way to excuses that we may have for not doing things that we feel like are right. 5 of Swords is like, well, I got to look out for myself, so too bad for this person, you know? But the justice within you, that energy of Libra within you, is like, that actually doesn't sit well with you. So even though you can be like, well, I'm just matching their energy, or I'm just doing the same thing that they did to me, you know, there's a part of yourself that's like above that. And it's like, that's actually not the right way to go about doing this, and it may fracture this part of you that wants to be helpful, and then you become unhelpful. And this mindset also is something that gets in the way of what you want. Know too that you can be experiencing this with another person too. Like there can be a part of you that's like, I want things to be balanced between the two of us, and you may have somebody that is not receptive to that. Maybe you want to move forward with things where you're like, okay, well, like we can actually make this work, and you're trying to move forward, and you have somebody in your environment that you're trying to work with that's like, yeah, but remember that thing that you did yesterday, you know, like not letting things move forward. It can be your own energy. This can also be another person's. I will leave it up to you to discern what that is for yourself. Is this your energy? Is this another person's? What it is this would be something that would be, so there's justice. Five of Swords can be like, well, this is my way of getting back and bringing things back into justice, like from a righteous type of perspective, but it actually doesn't. What the pure energy of justice does is allow things to function harmoniously. Somebody in the name of righteousness may be like, I'm just getting even or whatever, but you know, if you're motivated by that, but it's not aligned with bringing about harmony and resolution, it's not actually aligned with justice, the element of that. So somebody's even like mentally in a space where they could be like, well, this is how justice is served, but it's like, are you actually creating further separation rather than unity, and then becoming unhelpful in that way? And it's something to look into here, because we can wonder too, like, why things are going sideways, and somebody saying that they're motivated by something when it's actually a distortion of the energy. Like, that's not actually the way that justice works, and you have to remind yourself of what's motivated. If one is motivated by Five of Swords, which is actually a mentality of conflict, further conflict is going to ensue because of that. Justice is not an energy of conflict as far as creating more conflict. Justice is an energy of finding resolution and eventually the dissolution of conflict, going to dissolve it. Five of Swords will create more of that. Like, there's conflict, and now I'm going to bring more chaos into the setting. And then I'm going to package it in a way that seems like, hey, I'm trying to be helpful here, when it's like, that's not actually what is going to be the thing that will be helpful. So this can be a moment where you're looking into something and you could be checking yourself, you could be checking your mentality, or you could be becoming aware of the way that another person is functioning and how they're packaging something and delivering it to you. But this does feel like it's happening in a somewhat covert way, where somebody may be doing something like in the name of justice, but they're actually just an agent of chaos here. This isn't to say that a whole person is doing that. It can just say, like, that's where they are mentally in this moment when this is happening. And it can be something where Six of Swords is like, we're trying to move on now. We're trying to move forward. Five of Swords is like, stop it right there. Like, let me actually confuse you a little bit so we're not going to move forward. So it will be something that you feel like that's going on. This can be your own stuff that you have going on too, I will say, because Six of Swords can be you wanting to move forward with something, and Five of Swords can be a part of you that's like, wait, maybe we should go back and fixate on that, or isn't that still a problem, or don't you still feel angry about that? You know, stuff that may just be unintegrated because it's still unresolved, and you can get to the bottom of this by figuring out where this is coming from too. Like, Five of Swords pops up because one feels like they need to be on the defense for some reason. Like, they're not relaxed. It's more of a fight or flight type of energy, Five of Swords. I see Five of Swords as being a bit of a dysregulated nervous system, if we're going to sort of give a name to it. So it's there for a reason. It's like an adaptive thing that we do. However, like the motivation is for it to be like self-preservation and protection of self, but having justice above it feels like what we're actually trying to do is to create a sense of balance that may be lacking, to infuse this with a sense of harmony where something is actually out of balance. But Five of Swords can be the thing that's the real issue here. It's whatever this agent of chaos is that's not really allowing that to happen. And it's like getting in the way of the dream, like getting in the way of the vision. And it can be too like the mind getting in the way of what the heart is really trying to like project out into this situation. And what do we do then? Five of Swords does, you have to know too that like from a psychological standpoint, it's a part of oneself that is trying to be helpful from an adaptive standpoint of protecting oneself. but it's not necessarily going to be something that allows us to move forward, that allows us to integrate, that allows us to drop the exterior, the walls, the armor. So having to sort of shift into a different lane mentally. Because the mindset is going to be what ends up sort of what's motivating someone in like what they're saying or how they're perceiving things like that. If this is not resolved, it's going to create present conflict. So even though the conflict can technically be sort of in the past and we're moving on from it, having Six of Swords, Five of Swords, and the Magician is like, now we're in a new space where things are supposed to be better. But Five of Swords and the Magician is like, and now we're going to create new problems or create new conflict because somebody has not like regulated themselves psychologically. So something is still dysregulated and it needs to be addressed. Otherwise, like, the help is not going to be there, you know? Like, no matter what one is trying to do, as helpful as they're trying to be, it's coming through with, like, the wrong motivator behind it. And so it's something that's actually going to create more chaos, like, do more harm than good. Even if one is trying to be helpful, it'll be coming like backed from a logic that is not motivated by harmony and that is not motivated by balance or is not motivated by actual like just fairness, like the law of that, spiritually, energetically speaking. I do get the feeling like if one sits with this and reflects on it, the delineation of these energies will be very obvious and there will be I can see very clearly like where this is coming from or where things start going south because of this. But if one does not take the time to sit and recognize, it's something that will just sort of keep functioning without being checked. I do get the feeling that this is a somewhat unconscious thing that happens. Motivated by fear in the name of I'm doing what I want or what's good for me, but then ends up having the effect of creating more chaos and not allowing things to run smoothly, and can also be not allowing everybody to sort of work together and get along. It's like an uncooperative energy that's mixed into it. If one truly wants to move forward, this is going to need to be addressed. This is something that can show up in a way where like we're trying to move forward, but then somebody's doing something and being like motivated by a petty energy, you know? It can be those types of things where it's like we're trying to move on, why do you keep dragging this stuff back up again? But again, can be because somebody doesn't feel like something has truly properly been resolved yet, but it can be getting in the way of what they want now at this point. What the suggestion is to figure out what is motivating one when they are framing things, when they are speaking, when they are manifesting things, like creating, all of that. Like, what is the energy that's behind the paintbrush of this? Getting to a point of checking into and breaking down what's motivating one to take action in this instance. And that's really what's going to allow you to be propelled forward without this being something that's keeping you stuck in a cyclical rut here. It's like a fear spiral of some sort, is what I'm seeing. This can also be another way that this can be recognized, this energy, is somebody being like, well, things won't be made right on their own, and so I need to take it upon myself to make things right. And then it ends up again like creating more chaos, because there's this mistrust that there is like that natural law, balance, order to things. So one is like, well, I'm gonna take this into my own hands and do it, but then it's not being motivated by and working with that force. It's actually working with this force that comes from fear because it's based in a mistrust. So that's another way that you can see this, recognize this sort of when it's coming into play. And it's really all motivated by the fear, by the mistrust of this. But it's something that actually ends up getting in the way of like justice being served, if that's how you want to say it, of justice being able to properly play out. It's like somebody being like, well, I need to deliver the karma because I'm the agent of karma, when it's like, that's actually not. Like, you're being an agent of chaos here. You're not being an agent of karma. Maybe your own, And I'm saying like you in general, like to people that are sort of in this space, in this mentality, moving from that, which all of us can be, not to the exclusion of anything or anyone. All of us have the ability to tap into this frequency if we so choose. So just keep that in mind. If there's something going on where you're looking at it and you're actually being asked to take a step back rather than put your hands in it, thinking that you're going to be the one to deliver this energy, when it's like, this will play out on its own. I don't think you really need to do much of anything except clear out your own space and get yourself into a pure space energetically, because this will be something that gets in the way of the stuff that you want then, by being like, now it's my job to dole this out, when it's like, it's not actually your job and you're not doling it out. You're just being chaotic here with this. Keep in mind too that this can be somebody that you're interacting with, and you can be like, why do things keep not working with them? And it's because this is the mentality that they're in. And that's not like a judgment on a person being like they're good or bad because of this. It's just where they are. So we're just speaking about where somebody is without it needing to be like qualified and given any type of value. Anything else? Something that if you feel like you're stuck in this space and you're like, how do I stop doing it though? Bring the focus, energy back onto yourself rather than like everybody else and things not being fair and all of that stuff, and now you have to make things fair. Pull the focus back into like an inner focus onto you and stop looking at everybody else. It will be the way that you'll be able to align this again within yourself. Because if you're like focusing on everybody else and you're like, well, that's not fair and that's not fair and they did this and now I have to, it gets you involved in other people's business, and it's not your business. Like, you are your business. So it's about making you your business again, because like you're neglecting yourself and focusing on everybody else. So this is something that can definitely be helpful here. Like, bring the focus back onto like you and what your heart's vision is, and mind your business. Which I'm saying that with absolute love, mind your business. It's also something that I tell myself all the time. So definitely something that I personally resonate with here. You know, you can feel very like miserable constantly, like minding the business of other people and like wanting to control things and manipulate things, or like that's happening over there, so I gotta fix this. And it's like, doctor your own life. That's like the way to be liberated from this energy and to stop feeding into it, you know, because things will balance themselves out, and you don't need to be like the agent of doing this here. And even if you try to, if you're motivated by this type of thing, it's not going to do what you're trying to get it to do anyway. It's just going to be something that's going to come back on you and take things away from you. You take things away from yourself that you're actually trying to realize here and connect with. And there's a part of you that's like, I have these things and I want you to pay attention to me and listen to the heart space. And when you're busy all everywhere else, it's like you're neglecting this part of yourself that's asking to be heard here, and that really does have a vision that can be seen. So you want to check in. What is motivating, what you're focusing on, what you're paying attention to, what you're getting busy with, what you're doing, your actions, those things, and coming back to a space where you're doing things for yourself again, you know, rather than other people and their business and that stuff. And allowing things to play out too. Because I think that this also is a way that we can sort of give ourselves this false idea that we're actually under control by trying to manipulate and control other things. And then when, of course, it lands in a way where that's not actually what's happening and we're not really able to do that, we feel like we just hit a low point then, and it's like, I'm so out of control. And it's like, well, because you're not in control of other people, you're in control of yourself, and you haven't been controlling yourself, you know, or being mindful of yourself and what you're doing. And that's the way to allow yourself to feel grounded and to feel safe too. Having Empress and Judgment, this is Venus and this is Pluto, this may change something very deeply within your relationships and how you interact in an interpersonal way. And to also have Mercury here too, to have Justice and to have Mercury, this feels like Justice is the energy of Libra. Mercury is all about your mentality. So it's bringing things back into a state of balance where it hadn't been, where you may have been sort of bypassing a little bit and being like, this is the way to restore balance. And then it's like, well, why isn't this working? And why isn't this working? And why are things becoming more chaotic? And why am I more closed off? And now what do I want? And I feel disconnected from myself. It's like, bring things all the way back. And focus on you. And figure out, like, what am I feeling? Like, what do I want? Like, what is my heart saying to me? And come back into that space with yourself. And then it's going to tell you how to proceed from here. Because, again, like, you may have been getting yourself involved in something that's, like, you weren't working as an agent of your heart space. You're working as an agent of something else. To bring yourself back into this space, into that pure space with yourself, and then it will inform you how to move forward, okay? Feels like easily solved, all right? You know how to move forward now. There may be some stuff, too, that you're coming to terms with as well, and this could have been why you were distracting yourself with this other thing, even if it was like an unconscious thing that you were doing, which now you're aware of, so it's not unconscious anymore. Could have been dealing with something that you sort of were protecting yourself from processing because you couldn't really handle it, but you could have felt like you couldn't, or your ego could have been like, let's turn the TV off here, you know, and you didn't see the rest of what was happening. This feels like opening that back up so you can integrate this. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.